Hello, everybody out there in YouTube. We are the Middle-Aged Guys, and like usual, we bullshit about nothing. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Gray Mouse 1.
Earlier this week, back on the 26th, Nintendo, on the Nintendo of Europe, or Nintendo.com UK website, they went ahead and they released out a spreadsheet with all of the confirmed Switch specifications. Now, this is all of the stuff all of the technical stuff, like how much it weighs, the type of connectivity that it has, all the things that you would see on a feature or specification sheet for things that will show up on like websites like Amazon or Newegg or anything like that. Unfortunately, it doesn't cover any of the internal specifications, but it does actually go a far way in addressing some of the concerns that we've had, especially the folks in this particular video, about some of the features of the Switch and how they're going to handle a lot of their services. What we're going to be doing in this particular video right now is that we're going to be covering some of those specifications, and we're going to discuss them, especially in concern with a lot of the criticisms that we've had of the Switch before. This is one of those things where now that we've got the facts, we can go ahead and lay the groundwork and even everything out. And if there's something that we're wrong about, or something that may turn out not to be as, I don't know, as horrendous or as retarded as we initially thought, well, this is the video that we're going to be correcting that with, okay? First thing first, one of the things that, if you're looking at the specification sheet, is that it breaks down everything as far as just the console, the dock, the JoyCons, and the grip, pretty much everything that comes with the box, all right? One of the things that I had noticed on the particular console itself, it sits there and it breaks down, you know, where your buttons are at, the size of the screen. It does have speakers on it, so you do get stereo sound out of it. And one of the things that was really interesting that I saw on it was that it showed that there is an audio jack, and the audio jack under the description says for connecting commercially available headphones, microphones, or headsets. Now, if you remember the previous video that we did probably last week, we had a lot of criticism on how Nintendo is actually handling their voice chat options. This right here actually kind of gives me personally a little bit of hope that maybe they're able to go ahead and handle it a little bit differently. The other thing that gave me a little bit of hope that maybe they're handling their voice chat a little bit differently is the fact that, yes, it is Bluetooth compatible. It is showing that it is running the Bluetooth 4.1 spec. That's what they're going to be using primarily for the communications between the JoyCons and the actual console itself when they're not connected directly to the console. But just saying that it's Bluetooth compatible, that right there also lets me know, hey, look, if they can go ahead and they can get that headset working, then maybe I don't have to worry about having this shit tethered on all the time with a separate headset and having to grow a third fucking ear to go ahead and actually handle my voice chat. You know, that was one of the things that stuck out to me. What are some of the things that stuck out to you guys?
Damn it, no credit card slot. I think you guys would have killed me if that shit would have actually been there. Yeah. So they do have a slot for an earphone and a microphone jack. Okay. So motherfuckers like Mad Cats are going to be making their third-party stuff for it in order to connect this thing, in order for you. I hope that they do activate stuff like that for voice chat. That only makes sense. And the Bluetooth thing, that was great too. I mean, yeah. Damn. One thing that I didn't notice absolutely before until I took a little bit of a deeper look is that, like this, the joypad on the Switch, you know, the joypad on the Switch is just buttons. It's not a directional pad, really. Now, I understand that most people use analog sticks and stuff like that, but damn, never seen a directional pad like that before, where it's just buttons.
Not quite so separated, at least.
Yeah, not that separated. Because yeah, like PlayStation has had this design for I don't know how long, ever since the first PlayStation, but the Switch is like this, like, you know, buttons for their directional pad. And I'm like, that's something new. They have a brightness sensor on there. I thought that was fairly interesting. So again, it's a portable console and it's a dock for your actual console.
Yep. The funny thing about the brightness setting is that it really kind of reminds me about the auto brightness for smartphone. Like with a lot of smartphones and tablets and everything else, if you have like the power save options on it, it'll automatically adjust it to whatever the brightness is of the room so that it's actually legible. So you don't have it like on full brightness all the time if you don't need it, which, makes sense considering that, according to the specs, we're still dealing with a 6-hour charge at most. Your average game is you're only gonna get a 3-hour charge out of your average game.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on.
It's funny because the charging time is 3 hours and your game can last 3 hours depending on the game, of course.
Yeah. And the one thing that I was really, really happy to see was the fact that, and this was previously confirmed, that they had the USB-C connection dock at the back of it. That way you don't have to worry about having a proprietary charger for it. You just get yourself a USB-C charger. Like I said, they even sell those at, I can go to AMPM and look at their smartphone accessories, and they'll have one there for $20. So guess what? It's not going to be something that you're going to find yourself without. Thankfully, that's one thing that they did that was kind of smart. What about you, Gray Mouse? Was there anything in particular that you happened to see on the spec sheet that stood out to you, sir?
Pretty much, Theme said everything that I saw as well. You said the USB-C port is on the actual console and not on the dock.
It's on the console itself. It does have the individual specs for the dock too on the same particular web page. In fact, we're going to leave a link to it below. Yeah. The USB-C port on the console itself is what's going to be used for hooking it up externally to the dock, and also for any sort of external charging devices that you happen to have when you don't have the device actually docked up. Yeah, it's like I said, it's one of the few things that I've seen that they've done that doesn't require a proprietary device. One of the things that I found kind of interesting was that we were asking, so what's the charge on the JoyCons? According to the specifications, JoyCons have a 20-hour charge. So you're not going to be worrying. You shouldn't be worrying about your JoyCons going out on you when you're out and about. Mm-hmm. Problem. Maybe it's going to be a problem for some. If you do happen to have JoyCons and you want to go ahead and charge them separately from the unit outside of its docked form, unfortunately, you have to get the additional charging grip, which is $30. So
is the batteries in the Joy-Con, or is it their internal?
Yes. Yep.
Multiplayer.
The multiplayer part. That part is actually pretty interesting. How they went ahead and they broke that down.
Link your consoles together. By connecting with other Nintendo Switch consoles, you can enjoy local multiplayer, just like the freaking 3DS or even the DS.
Yep, or the PSP or the Vita with ad hoc network mode. Yeah. So,
or connect via the internet. Go online and play with far-off friends and users all over the world via Wi-Fi. With a LAN adapter, you can connect to the internet via a wireless connection while playing in TV mode. So when you're at home and it's in the dock, you can connect, just normally.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting because that means you're going to have that shit in your fucking router if you're going to have to do it that way. Or
yeah. or like it said,
which is the
it's
best way to connect a video game console. There are many people that do it wirelessly, and that's okay. But in order to be efficient, connecting your console wired through an Ethernet cord is the way it should be.
Yeah, definitely, especially for the fact that even within just a close proximity range, wireless connections tend to be really, really fickle. And the thing is that if you're running a solid wire, guess what? You don't have to worry about your Wi-Fi signal dropping out if you're running a microwave at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
So,
capture screenshots.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, there's the capture screenshots thing with that particular one. I'm that sounds really, really cool. The funny thing is that you could do the same thing on the Wii U. You could go ahead and capture screenshots, and you could share things out to the Miiverse and everybody else. That's where that whole meme where why can't Metroid crawl? That's where that came from. Okay, which was retarded. All right, I'm just hoping that with this, Nintendo says that they have video capture coming soon somewhere down the pipe. I'm hoping that they go ahead and they loosen up on their their copyright control for streaming media and for games and shit like that.
It wouldn't make any sense if you're going to offer video capture, but you're not going to offer motherfuckers to actually post that shit online. That would make no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, but it's the problem with it is that it seems like Nintendo of America is completely fine with it, but Nintendo of Japan is not.
If they're going to have their own online service, then maybe you just do it there. Maybe not anywhere else. You can just, post it via the Nintendo online service, and that's the only way motherfuckers are going to be able to look at and access it, which is still stupid. But
Yeah.
I can't figure out if they're going to go.
Yeah, that doesn't make too much sense. Yeah, what about you, Gray Mouse? What do you think about that one? You're shaking your head there.
Not going to happen. Nintendo will continue to be tight with their streaming, and because Nintendo wants their money. I'm sorry. I'm not being an ass or a jerk Nintendo's been notorious.
You're stating facts. Or most likely
for pulling videos down and giving copyright strikes for just people trying to play Splatoon. I don't see that happening, or I don't see that stopping anytime soon. Whether you will probably have to go onto a site owned by Nintendo to stream your Nintendo games, and I'm thinking that's the way they're going to go.
That's what I mean about their online service, because that's going to be an online subscription.
Yep.
They're going to have their own domain.
That's going to be shit. Yep. That's going to be the perk of signing on to their online. That's the way it is, and Nintendo of Japan will continue to do so, and they have every right. It's their IP.
Yeah,
and they. I understand that some YouTubers and whatnot want to get the money off of their streams because it's technically their content, but it's really not. It's still Nintendo's IPs, and if that's what they want to do, they want to be assholes about it. And you can bitch and complain all you want, and Nintendo's not. No, I don't see that happening at all. They're going to continue to do that.
While I agree with that, it strikes me really odd for the fact that through if I remember correctly, with a lot of their mobile games and things like that, you can sit there and you can share results and stuff like that via other social media services and things like that. So if they're going to go ahead and limit like that, they wouldn't be able to make it possible to go ahead and share out results to either like Twitter or Facebook or things like that, or Instagram. It wouldn't make sense to.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but sharing results is completely different than streaming the actual game over a a service, for example, Twitch, YouTube, or whatever it may be. And that's what they're doing. They're stopping people from doing that. I mean, actually, in all honesty, I think that you can do it as long as you don't monetize that. If you don't monetize it, I don't think Nintendo cares because you're not making any money. But so these big YouTuber guys are monetizing gameplay from Nintendo. And of course, Nintendo's like, you know, team up with Nintendo of America or team up with Nintendo and we'll take 75% of your pay, but you still get this quarter of your of however much it is.
Well, that's like when motherfuckers were advertising, well, not advertising, but just showing showing themselves play like Super Mario Maker.
The problem is that the way that YouTube and a lot of the other social media and video hosting sites work, it doesn't matter if the video is monetized or not. It can still be hit with a copyright strike.
Right.
I know I've had half a dozen of my videos hit with copyright strikes, and I don't have anything fucking monetized.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and yeah, guess what? They're no longer part of my playlist or in my thing because fuck anybody who sits there and wants to sit there and play ads in front of my shit, you know. Especially when I'm not even earning any money on top of it. But this is one of those things that hopefully it's going to take some sort of paradigm shift with the way that the executives over at Nintendo is thinking. Hopefully they come around to it. All right. Chances are it's not. If they do, it's not going to happen quickly. But it's still as far as having it right there on the console and available for the world to see and the world to actually use, especially if you're going to put this on a spec and feature sheet as a selling point for your fucking console. All right. I'm sorry. It's going to be really hard for me to go ahead and say, hey, look, I've got this car to sell you, but you could only drive it around the fucking block.
What? You can only
guess what?
You can't. You can only turn right.
Yeah, and guess what? The block that you can only drive it around is my block, not yours.
You can only drive clockwise.
You know, so it strikes me as odd, but this is something that we're gonna have to, like you said, we're just gonna have to go ahead and pay attention to. The other things that just kind of seemed really odd about this particular or interesting about the specs, like I said, they've got a whole bunch of details on like the physical aspects of the Switch, you know, its size, how much it weighs, the actual console itself. It says approximately 297 grams by itself, or 398 grams with the JoyCons connected. And the thing is that I believe to pounds, that is like less than a pound, you know, connected up. All right. Now, I'm going to step off on a little bit of a different thing. I'm going to jump on a soapbox for a moment. All right. There are a lot of folks out there who are saying, why am I going out of my way to pay for an overpriced piece of software that's not as powerful as the PS4 or the Xbox One? Okay. Not knowing that it weighs just a little bit more than my fucking cell phone. All right. And that the controllers have more tech, you know, packed in them combined for anything that's been out for like the last 3 fucking gaming generations. Okay.
No, your phone, your Scorpio, your PS4 Pro are not going to have Breath of the Wild on it.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but guess what? You know what? You know how much I paid for my phone? I paid $500 fucking for it, and it was a generation old by the time I went ahead and I paid it. How much is a fucking Scorpio gonna cost? God, nobody fucking knows. All right. the PS4 Pro, it's $400 fucking right now. And guess what? Since it's not a quote unquote a new console generation, if it's considered part of the same console, can I consider that fucking old tech? So you're telling me I'm paying $400 for fucking old tech? Is that it? All right. Guess what? It doesn't even have a fucking 4K Blu-ray player like the fucking Xbox One S. All right. So you're telling me I'm paying that much? Look, I know there are a lot of people out there who, just like a lot of general consumers, are price point shoppers, and everything else. But the purpose of getting a hold of game consoles, and you could ask the Theme or Gray Mouse or anybody else who's appeared on this channel along with me, the purpose to go ahead and getting a hold of a console or any other platform is that there's games that you want to play. It's never been about the console itself. All right. It's all, in the end, it's always about the games. I find it ludicrous that that there are very vocal people out there who are like, oh, since it didn't hit the $250 sweet spot, I'm not interested in this fucking underpowered thing. Not realizing that the amount of technology and everything that's packed into that 1 pound package, all right, that if Microsoft or Sony went ahead and put it out, they'd probably charge you a fucking grand for it. Okay. And they want this to cost $200, come packed with the fucking game, a pro controller, and they want to give you a blowjob on top of that. Okay. If you're one of those fucking people, guess what? Do your goddamn math. All right. Look back at the history of fucking consoles that have been released. Look at what the MSRP has come out at, and do your fucking comparison. All right.
Wow. I mean, the Switch is the only console that's going to be out at this time that you don't have to install games to your fucking console. You put them in, you take them out, they're yours. They don't have to be tethered to your console, eating up fucking memory for no fucking reason. You're just going to put them in and you're just going to play them as games.
Speaking of which, one thing that we have not touched on in this video is the memory
32 gigs.
Yeah,
capacity.
32 gigs of onboard memory, and I will say that is for a dedicated device. It sounds anemic. It sounds very small. All right, but if I were to go out of my way and I were to say, I don't know, buy an iPhone 6, which is a generation behind, with 32 gigs of memory, it's going to charge me $600 fucking dollars.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well,
guess what? It doesn't have a micro SD card slot for me to expand the memory.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I can play Mario Run
until you lose your internet.
Yeah.
The point that I was making is that, I mean, they already said that it's better to, for the digital, you can digitally download some of these games as well. But it's probably, you really don't need more than 32 gigs for a save file, because the majority will already have the SD card for the game.
I was just about to say, maybe they'll have, come on. Maybe inside the cartridge you can save your games.
That very well could be the case.
I don't think so. Not, they could do that, but it would probably increase the price of the cartridges. All right, it's the same deal. Look at
the 3DS.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, with the 3DS and everything else like that, that also, with the 3DS, the cartridges themselves, they have battery backup. All right, and if you look at the price of, I don't know, the Persona games, in comparison to other games that don't have internal saves, there is a noticeable physical difference in the price. All right,
I guess we're back to the Nintendo 64.
It's the same deal like the NES games, like the ones with the onboard save function. They cost more than the other games when they were out in retail. It's part of the package. Now the thing about it is that it has a micro SD card slot, and it is compatible with micro SD XC cards that are theoretically able to be as big as 2 terabytes. All right. Now, in order for you to go ahead and have a shitload of saves, guess what? The Nintendo GameCube 1019 memory card, that was only 16 megabytes.
Yeah.
All right. That handled all of your saves for your whole fucking life on that console.
And
Okay,
that's
you
what I
don't need
wanted
that much memory.
That's what I wanted to bring up, that for those of us who like physical media, you know, it's a good, I mean, all you're going to do is save your game, your save onto the hard drive of or the memory, onboard memory of the Switch. So 32 gigs, if you really think about it, that's a lot. But for those people that want it to be a digitally only when you download, because correct me if I'm wrong, didn't we make a video about the Breath of the Wild being like requiring 12 gigs on
On the Wii U, it's going to require a 4 gig install.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, for the Wii U. Now the Wii U is going to have the 4 gig install, and it's also going to have everything else that's on the full disc. I don't know how big the actual game is at that point, but if it's
that game going to use the it's going to have to. It's going to have to use the fucking touchpad for the Wii U.
yeah, I mean theoretically speaking, if we're talking about, I don't know, the Wii U pretty much uses like the media is comparable to either DVD9 or Blu-rays, right? Single layer Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Then it's like a 20 gig game if you think about it.
What if, since this is cartridge based, what if they create R4 cards for this thing?
They will try. People will flash cards are going to be coming for that. That's going to be something in the future. But just like any flash card for any system that goes online, you're going to have to be really, really careful.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to end up like those folks who got fucking banned off of their 3DSs, you know, for Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Wait, they went online early because they got the game early. Those idiots.
Oh. I mean,
It was just a thought. I mean,
no, that stuff is theoretically something that people will be able to do. Now, is that something that people want to go out of their way to do? I don't know how close the Nintendo Switch system is. I don't know what the security is like on it, you know. But it's one of those things where it's another system that goes online, and once it goes online, and if it runs a check for anything like that, then yeah, you can end up getting your system banned.
You're gonna have to be online in order to play it. You're gonna have to hook that shit to the internet out of the box, or do you just hook up a system, hook up the game?
One man.
No, but the thing with it is that if it is like current systems right now that have regular firmware and console updates, yeah, the moment it sits there and it flags an update and sees that there's a flash card or something like that, it's gonna, one of two things is gonna happen. Either it's gonna disable the functionality for that flash card to show up, or it's gonna ban itself. All right, I'd rather not see.
And then Mario, the face of Mario is gonna come up on your fucking Switch touchpad.
What you'll see is that, you know, those LEDs, those 4 LEDs on the fucking JoyCon grip, only 3 of them will go ahead and show up, and it'll blink on and off like the fucking red rings.
What's up?
I said it'll be Bowser, just like in.
No, wait. Oh, yeah, it will be Bowser. Wait, instead of red rings, it will be a red Triforce.
Like 3 LEDs just going ahead and blinking on and off.
Yeah, on top of the buttons, they'll have the Triforce.
I'm telling you, there's going to be some banned consoles, man.
That'll probably happen within a few weeks.
Yep. Yeah. I you know, and the funny thing is that as far as it goes, there was a lot of information that was released out on this spec sheet. Like there's views of the front end. There's obviously going to be an eShop and everything else, but hopefully our biggest concerns right now is, okay, online and voice chat, how are you going to handle that? We see that you support headsets. You've got the hardware there to support headsets. Hopefully that's not going to be tethered to this, to be running along with the Switch, and I don't have to worry about that, because that was something that I really did not like, you know.
Well, the memory is going to become a problem for the eShop?
If the games are that big, if you're getting full size retail games, it's going to be a fucking issue.
Now,
all right?
for the retro systems, the 16-bit and the 8-bit systems, that's not going to take that much memory.
Not for the
like,
virtual console games, yeah.
Exactly. For like modern games.
Yeah. Full size Switch games and stuff like that. Yeah, that'll be an issue.
Did it say how much? Is there a limit of memory card that you could put up in there, or
it's only got one slot? Yeah, it's only got one slot for an SD card.
Have you guys watched that Nintendo Treehouse? They actually showed the interface of what the Switch looks like.
No, I haven't.
It kind of looks like the Wii U interface. It has the little boxes in the 3DS interface, so that's not changing.
Yeah, and I'm not expecting it to look any different, really. Just like Sony has their cross media bar for all of the Sony projects across the board. It doesn't matter if it's TV, to their PSP, all the way up to the PS4. Even that has a version of it. The UI and the front end for the Switch, I don't expect it to be very different in comparison from the 3DS and the Wii U that's out there before it, because like we said before, there are certain things, even though they're from previous generation, Amiibos, eShop, Virtual Console, those are money makers for them. They're not going to get rid of that, so they're still going to have support for that on the Switch. Was there anything else on this particular one that we wanted to go ahead and poke on, folks?
Oh, the JoyCon strap. Ooh.
Well, at least they're included, and the thing is that as silly as it sounds,
you think people will still throw their fucking
TVs will be destroyed?
Yeah. If not, they're going to be elbowing little kids and smacking their siblings out of the way when they're fucking playing. It's going to happen.
But you're not doing.
They are going to be knocked over.
Yeah, things are going to be knocked over. It's going to happen. All right.
And then the Joy-Con grip.
Yeah, I mean that's just something to go ahead and help with the regular ergonomics of a controller. That's something that we're just gonna have to try out for ourselves, really.
Wait a minute, the Joy-Con grip, the one the charge grip, what's SRB on that?
The manufacturer suggested retail price on the extra Joy-Con grip that actually charges the Joy-Cons away from the console is $30, $29.99.
God.
Yeah. So
that's steep for convenience. Holy shit.
Either that or guess what? When you're not using it, just throw the Joy-Cons on the fucking console and throw it on the dock. Yeah. You really don't need it.
Yeah. Which one about?
Yeah, I mean, you really don't need it. So it's just one of those things. Yeah, and I think that pretty much wraps it up. Like I said before, folks, we're going to go ahead and we're going to leave a link to the UK website that has all the specifications and everything else. You can go ahead and look it over. Fuck everybody else who's going out of their way, or the folks who are sitting there still making preponderance and spreading rumors around for it and trying to assume things. This is the type of thing that hopefully, like we said, we can go ahead and clear up any sort of questions you might have. Yeah, I know we still don't know what type of Tegra processor it is, but I'm telling you it's probably not a 1 and it's probably not a 2. It's probably something in between. All right. With that, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. If you're so kind, hit that like button, hit subscribe, leave us a comment below, especially if you think we missed something or maybe there's something you found out that we haven't covered. We surely have to go ahead and talk about it. We're the middle-aged guys. We've been talking about the actual real specs for the Switch for the last 30 minutes, or at least the best that we could. Our bullshit on that ends here. I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Gray Mouse 1.
Once again, for the benefits of common sense, logic, and consoles. Gaming. Yeah, Nintendo dodged the bullet. No fucking credit card slot on this shit. Maybe I should get a patent for that for the next console wave. credits.
Hey, according to Project Arms, they do have the dual power gloves, so one of my predictions came through.
What are you gonna play it on?
Just on the Switch. Just on the Switch.